Welcome back to Radio Taiwan International. You're listening to Geek Out. What's your cup of tea, tickles your fancy, or floats your boat? Join us as we share passions from people in Taiwan and around the world. I'm your host, Michelle Chang, and today in the studio we have my very good friend, Jared Friesen, back again.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Glad to be back. I guess, I don't know.
It's great. I love it. What are we geeking out about today?
We are geeking out about dungeon mastering, or if you're not in Dungeons & Dragons, game mastering, running games for people, writing that stuff.
Yeah, DMing or GMing. Mm-hmm. This is actually a very underappreciated role in modern RPG tabletop games.
Yeah. It's like saying that the most important part of a football game is the referee. You don't think about it, but yeah. Otherwise, people are just tackling each other. People just hit each other. Like, there's no order to it, too. Yeah.
But it's not only the referee, but it's like kind of a combination of the coach.
You're like a referee.
Yeah.
You are a director, is like the school I got brought into. There's a lot to unpack about it, too.
There's also some sports commentary going on.
Yeah, like you just got to kind of like sit back and let things happen, too.
And you're also the enemy team. Oh, anyway, enough sports references, because I'm actually not very good at sports. Yeah, I didn't used to play football.
I'm a coach's kid, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's explain a little bit what TTRPGs are.
A style of game that happens on a tabletop, or now in the 21st century, the virtual tabletop too. It's a collaborative storytelling game too, so the fun in it comes from enjoying a shared story with people.
Yes, very much.
The role-playing is players create characters who are characters in this story too, together. Ideally, they have like motivations or wants to, or they're reacting to some plot crisis or antagonism of like the forces of that the game master is providing too.
Absolutely. That's so you play as your character. You role play, right? So what role does the dungeon master or game master have?
They are the person that maybe sets the stakes of the narrative, considers the genre that the game is going to be played into. They are responsible for describing all the settings too, knowing who the important non-player characters or NPCs are going to be for this too, acting out those characters, interpreting players' choices for what their characters do in a way that adheres to the rules and can be expressed that way too. A lot of sort of things too, like basically the facilitating and the running of the game, mediated through this one person who's kind of like outside the story.
In some sense. So it's not only the coach and the referee, the sports commentator, and the visiting team. It's also the field and the weather conditions and basically everything that is not the players themselves. So in that way, you know, both Jared and I have had experience DMing or GMing, and
for each other too.
Yeah, and for each other. It's really remarkable to watch the interactions of players at the table creating this story together. But if the DM or GM were not there, there would be no story.
It's what takes this from like schoolyard make-believe to something that's like regulated. Yeah.
I guess that's a good way to put it. No, you cannot do that.
Yeah. And that's just like sometimes that's part of the job. Sometimes it's like, I
don't think so. You know why? Because I said so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like paying it off and like conversely, like keeping the sincerity of your world going to like maintain like the fiction that the people are into. You did this to me once. You were playing your character and you made a joke. You were all like right in front of the big gates where like the boss, like basically had like boss fight written on it. And you knocked on the door and said pizza.
I do remember this.
And I asked you, are you sure you do that? And you said yes. And I was like, cool. This happened in the world now. So we got to live with it.
So now pizza is canon.
Yeah. And the ensuing readiness of all the people on the other side of the door.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Indeed. I created a catastrophic, well, we lived, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't catastrophic, but my actions.
It was much more of a harrowing confrontation than like a surprise dynamic entrance.
Stealth. Okay, so from a DM standpoint, what do you have to do in order to prepare for, start a game?
find people you want to play with first.
Okay. Oh, yes. This actually is super important. Yeah.
The enjoyment is like, if you don't want to run a game for these people aren't going to be fun to watch, enjoy something you do. Yeah, in that sense, it's like cooking a dish. Part of it involves who's coming over. Oh, all my vegetarian friends are coming over, so I'm going to make a vegetarian meal. Or you say, I want to make a steak dinner so the vegetarians can't, not to exclude them, but I should invite the vegetarian friends. That's not what they're going to want.
Right.
So it's like two different mentalities, but like, who do you want at your table is the very first start.
Right.
Fortunately, I've got a very good squad of friends who play a bunch of RPGs together. So like
Yay.
That takes care of that problem. And then it's like, well, what do you want to run then? Like, how serious do you want to be? What genre do you want it to be into?
The sky's the limit for that. There are so many different RPG games out there.
Yeah. Well, RPGs for different settings too. And like different genres of stories too, which is really fun. Mm-hmm.
So then there's a difference between, do you want to run something like an adventure that is quote unquote pre-written, like pre-designed? You can run it from a PDF or a book.
Yeah.
Or or because it could be a combination of both, do you want to homebrew or write your own story?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I imagine you've done both.
Yeah, I've tried a little bit of both. Mm-hmm.
Your current campaign is homebrew though.
Yeah, the one you're playing it actually.
Yes, the one that I am playing. By the way, I play Van, an enormously large sea turtle who is extremely ugly and was drunk, no longer drunk. Mm-hmm. So we're excited to see where that goes.
Somewhere between like a sea turtle and like Jimmy Buffett and Margaritaville.
Absolutely, yes.
That's kind of where Van is.
I'm very much enjoying this kind of like, it's a pirate world.
Yeah.
Where we're sailing around all of these little islands. Yeah.
One of my players said that they wanted to play a pirate themed campaign, so I kind of built the world towards that too.
Excellent. I agree. The crew is actually really fun to play with. Now, in creating this world, well, I imagine it took quite a bit of effort to like come up with the maps or find maps or like I'm going to say steal or
I got a little
maps.
Depending on the scale of it too, I pay a subscription to like a map building service tool on the web.
There are many that are very cool. Yes,
it's very cool. As like a DM, you kind of get to scratch all those different itches and stuff too. So it's like if you start with the whole world, you're kind of in like that Tolkien playground of like, what's like the prehistory? How do all these things fit together? Where are the gods and stuff too? Like religion, all those things too. Like, how does that all work together to make a setting too? Or there are some people who are just like, you are in fantasy land number 10, like just generic like medieval Europe,
right? Yeah. Pulled from what people are usually familiar with, or even pop culture. Like you can pull it directly from the world of Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, and that way it might be a little easier on the DM, but the players are already kind of familiar with it.
Yeah.
So, or a combination of all, which is what I did.
I heard like a quote this week too. It's like, an artist who steals one time is a thief, and an artist who steals 1,000 times is a genius.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, like you've run into characters from my favorite books growing up, or like my favorite like teenage books and stuff too, in a city from a different book series that I was a really big fan of too. You fought a monster that was inspired by a random Magic the Gathering playing card I saw once when I was 10. Like, it's a lot to come up with, so just finding the shortcuts.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of akin to fan fiction. Look, so if a writer, creator, or a movie person has created this thing, this world, or person, or character, or the setting, location, doesn't matter, and they've released it out into the world for people like us to enjoy, it's now kind of free market. We know and love this thing, and like fan fiction writers do, they can take that creation and run with it. And I don't believe that anyone should regulate that. It's not stealing. It's not stealing. It is, but it
unless
isn't.
it's done commercially. Then that's like copyright law and stuff too.
That's true. It's true. Okay, so you've created said world. Now you've got a bunch of players up to shenanigans in it. Now each individual session, which lasts multiple hours,
depending on who you play with,
is kind of following like a plot of its own that's built into an overarching story, correct?
Yeah. Depending on who your DM is and what the style is too, because it could be like, like this big grand arc of like, we're going to do this thing in this place like several times, or you sit down, you show up, this is going to be wrapped up in 4 hours or 2 hours, and it doesn't really affect the rest of the world stuff too, which you could be very episodic in that way too, which is kind of like the director's idea too. Are you making a film or are you making
a TV series?
A TV series. And like this is just the monster of the week. There's a very fun game system that is called Monster of the Week for just that idea too.
Very much based on Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Supernatural, that kind of thing.
And has built in like the 3-act structure of those shows for 30-minute television. Like it's designed like it will escalate at this point, it'll escalate at this point, it'll climax at this point.
Yep.
And if you don't, that's how the episode ends. Like,
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some DMs actually just fly by the seat of their pants. They sit down with kind of a hook to start the story, and then it's just improv. The whole table improvs along, which I also find really amazing. If anyone is capable of doing that, props.
Yeah, it is like people buying into like the fact that like they're telling a story together and like they're being this character in this world. I don't go to Spain because Spain hasn't been described to me yet. I go to Spain because I just can't get to Spain right now in like the real world here. So like it's not like me believing is like, oh, that wouldn't be like consistent with me stuff too. It's like, no, there's like limiting real factors. So if people at a make-believe game at a table feel like that happens too, I think that's like really important for me to believe too. Or like, that's what I really want to engender at my table. If you believe the only way to stop this guy is to tackle him off a roof because that's super cool, I want to let that happen. I want you to roll for that. Let's see what happens next.
Yes, there's something we call the rule of cool.
Yeah.
Must happen. Yeah, we want that to happen. If you really want to do that, that's cool. We'll roll for it and roll for it and see what happens.
I think this is a difference between you and me. It's like I feel like I'm on my player's side a little bit more.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It's not good or bad at all. Too, is like I think I'm a little bit more like inspired from like pulp genre, like pulp fiction of like the early thousands. It's like
pulp
like
heroes, yeah,
super like hero focused, and it's like these people are like amazing, exceptional individuals doing cool things.
Yes. Whereas the world that I ran for Jared and Griff was post-apocalyptic. It's a horrible place, and there's so many deaths, and people are responsible for doing horrible. You have to do horrible things in order to win. Is that the word? You can't win D&D. Is there winning D&D? Anyway.
Yeah, that's a hard question. It's a hard question.
Story-wise, what is your process when you create something for the players to play in?
I did a really job. I did a really thorough job of trying to talk to you guys, all my players, before I started.
You did?
To get like, what's a character that would be interesting for you in like this kind of like world setting. And then I wanted to like behind the scenes to like try to like thread together reasons that like this crew got pulled together by like fate or chance or whatever for like some ultimate end to like do something heroic. But then like because I've got like such a big base of like your guys' stuff, I had to start building things into the world too. It's like, okay, you're a druid. Where do druids come from in this world too? And what's something that could be in jeopardy for those guys too?
So you start with the players. And it does help that all of the people who are playing have actually a substantial amount of experience playing characters in RPGs, so they can come up with like answers to all the questions that you ask, like what is a driving motivation, or what happened here and how long ago, and then you could take that material and then weave it in, use it as the base for your story. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
all right.
And again, like I don't want to like I'm trying to get away from like feeling like it's my story too, because I want like that like spontaneity or surprise to come from people too, of like eventually like get it fleshed out enough where it's like you guys can make decisions about what to do or not do in the world, and then that will change how I react to and what I prepare for each session is kind of like based on where you're at and what you did last session too. And there have been times where I've like fallen a little bit short of that and just kind of nudged you guys in a direction. It's like, go there.
It wasn't, I never felt railroaded. Yeah, it was always really decision based. But yeah, that also what you do there, which is base your stories on the players themselves. It helps the players become invested in the story, because so many of the details that they wrote into their character are popping up as the story goes, which is really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, like in planning for things too, it's like interesting crap that I want to see happen. I love trolls, so I'm going to put trolls in this fight, and that's what's got me too. Or I pulled a trap from a book I read when I was in high school. Yes. It was this giant like steel ball rolling down the stairs. You were like 20 feet up on like this spiral staircase, and this ball starts crashing down.
I remember, yeah.
And you guys did every single scenario that I thought you would.
Oh, excellent.
Like, I had someone who tried to like just like squeeze out of the way of it. I had someone who jumped over the railing to get out of it and like, I'll just take the fall damage. And I had someone who's like realized that it was an illusion. And it would only hurt you if you didn't realize it was an illusion.
I see.
And so all three of you guys did it.
Nice.
Like, and that made me feel like so smart. Like, I'm so good at this game. But also like you guys too, like picking up on all that stuff too.
It is kind of the DM's job to predict possible scenarios that the players are going to choose, so that you can continue the story of them choosing their own adventure, right? So yeah, it does make you feel kind of godly when you can tell what people are going to do.
Or like a chess master is like, yes, you've done exactly what I thought you would. You guys never sat down on the nightmare bed though?
Oh no, that sounds terrible.
Don't worry, I just took those nightmares and I put them back somewhere else.
Thank you very much.
You've already had them, I think.
A little bit.
But
did you predict the useless shark?
No. Okay, so yeah. Then I also had like a big boss fight that I wanted to be cinematic, and this is the one Michelle ran into. One of the things is like this tower of like frozen water, and then on like a random roll, the whole room might flood. And Michelle plays a druid who can turn into animals.
And I turned into a shark because I figured in the water it would be useful.
That only ended after the next round.
And I was a shark
all the water
still.
went away. You were a shark. Adhering to the rules, sharks cannot walk.
No, we cannot.
So.
No, but it was it. This is the part of these are the entertainment. These are the entertaining things that happen when you have a group of people sitting together who have a sense of humor, and it's magic.
Yeah, that's the thing I think is really compelling about tabletop RPGs is like, I know there are only so many things I can do in a video game.
Very true.
Like, I can't jump in a different way if I press a different button, or I can only do what's programmed into the game. But here, someone can say, oh, I just talked to the hungry wolves. You did that with like the druids, and it's like, okay, this will be like the encounter, like this little fight, I'll wear them out and take a little few of their resources, make the one later harder, and you're like, no, I can talk to them.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of sat there, I was like, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
All right. You did it. Yeah, just the thing you can't account for is like other people, but that's what keeps it fun and exciting too.
Exactly.
Like if I run that same thing for someone else and we don't have the same characters, or we don't even have the same people at the table, or there's someone missing at the table, those ideas don't come out. Those ideas get expressed in a different way. There's a different solution. Maybe someone sets the forest on fire. I don't know.
But it's interesting. It's a lot. It's very freeing in a way.
One time you invited me over to run a game for a mutual friend of ours and his like 12-year-old son.
Yes.
And like seeing some kid realize that they could be like creative or like anything kind of goes is really, really addictive.
That was really cool. Like watching, that was his first time ever playing D&D, and it was really fun to see. You know, it's you're holding his hand, becoming whatever he wants, more or less. Who can do anything that comes, or attempt to do. I'm going to say attempt to do anything that his mind can come up with.
Kind of like videos games have like the yes, no, fail safe states, but this game is kind of like about the gradients of that too. And as a teacher too, I find a lot of overlap with that in like planning a lesson too. So it's like seeing that engagement, seeing that connection between somebody and like realizing that they're realizing potential is incredibly rewarding.
Oh, that's an excellent way to put it.
Yeah.
Any particular advice that you would give for people who might want to end their forever DM's suffering and become a DM themselves?
We watch the same YouTuber called Matt Colville.
Colville, yes.
He has a great series called Running the Game. It inspired me. It kept me like fresh and focused on it too. But his biggest takeaway that I want to get to someone else is like, I'm the DM, so I don't have fun unless everybody else has fun.
That's very true.
And like I'm constantly checking with you guys if things are okay, if like topics are too far, if you had fun, if you felt like sidelined, if you felt like you haven't gotten like enough enjoyment and stuff too. So like that's why I'm constantly checking.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
Yay. I'm glad you brought up Matt Colville. If you're ever willing to do an interview, I would love to talk to you. You're amazing. Genius.
I would just like creep out in the corner too, and like it'd be great.
It'd be so good. Thank you so much for geeking out with me, Jared.
Thank you.
And thanks, listeners, for tuning Man, I can't do it anymore. For tuning into Radio Taiwan International, I'm Michelle Chang, and we'll be back next Thursday with another episode of Geek Out. Bye.